1. So I'm a to-go server. This is my third restaurant working to-goes, and I've never had a night quite like last Saturday night. There were two of us on, myself and M. M bagged the orders while I took care of placing orders, taking payments and running food out to cars. From the moment my shift started, we had a steady stream of orders. The volume only picking up as the night went on. Eventually, M and I had our hands full. She had a row full of bags on the bench she was packing and checked the food for. I had a full row of cars I was attending to as well as the phone. Despite the influx of orders, we eventually had a good rhythm going. That was at least until the weather went from sweltering heat to an intense storm. There was thunder and lightning, and at one point the lights in the restaurant even flickered. But this stream of orders, like the rain, would not let up. And of course, today our little stack of umbrellas in the corner of the to-go station was nowhere to be found. I'm sure you see where I'm going with this. With no other choice but to suck it up, I took a deep breath, grabbed 2 large orders ready to be picked up, and stepped outside. I didn't realize just how hard it was raining until I was quickly soaked to the bone. But there was no going back. Hoping to be speedy enough, the food would mostly go unscathed. I bolted to the first car, alas, the universe and the old lady in the car fumbling for 40 seconds straight with my pen when I asked her to sign the damn receipt. Had something else in mind. After I wrapped up the first car, I made a beeline for the next car. But it was too late. As I was speed-walking to the next car, the now-soaked paper bag started to fall apart. One of the handles snapped off then. I watched in horror as the bottom of the bag completely gave out. The large order came crashing to the pavement, in full view of all the cars, and exploded all over. I looked up to see the 2 servers who had been watching me on camera fly out the side door and rush over to help me. They sent me inside while they picked up the order. Bless them. It felt good to know I'm in a work environment where my coworkers have got my back. I realized that I had my phone, vape, and timesheets in my apron while I was outside as well as I was wearing my hearing aids. I frantically took everything out, took off my hearing aids, and raw-dogged the rest of the shift, praying nothing was damaged. I was rattled by what happened, though, and couldn't get my rhythm back the rest of the night. Eventually, some people came inside to pick up their orders, and I had to deal with them staring at me like an animal in a zoo as I frantically multitasked, all while dripping wet. One of them remarked that plastic bags would be better. Thanks, Captain Obvious. That's totally within my control. There was a silver lining, however, because one of the customers inside, watching me run in and out of the rain, felt so bad that she gave me her umbrella. I tried to tell her I couldn't take it, but she said she was going to cry watching me run in the rain, so I obliged. I thanked her profusely and offered to walk her to the car with said umbrella, but she politely declined, saying she knew how busy I was. It was nice to see a customer be so empathetic. Eventually, Em and I got caught up enough, we of course remade the ruined order and sent it out, that she came over and told me she had been fighting with the kitchen a good chunk of the night because they were sending out the wrong things and refusing to make what she asked for. It was a rough night for us both. On the bright side, sunny, not rainy side, we each made roughly $100 in tips. None of my things were ruined by the rain, and one of the customers asked for my name so she could tell my manager how well I was doing. Really hoping she went through with that. 2. I had been working at the restaurant for 3 years. I was just 1 month shy of it being my 4th year. All of a sudden, management changed and someone was hired from the same restaurant in another town to come over and work here. I got along with everyone. I was friendly with all the cooks, dishwasher, crew, janitor, my fellow servers, and, of course, customers. I knew the whole staff by name, and had remembered regulars by name when they came in, even the ones that come in every 3 months or so. I genuinely enjoyed working there. When the new manager came, I thought they were friendly, and I tried my best getting to know them. For whatever reason, my intuition kept telling me that maybe this person isn't so friendly. I put my feelings aside and started to notice that their management style made the server suffer in terms of quality of service for the customers. One day it was really busy during a rush, and I had about 7 tables to cover. I was working the floor with 2 other servers while only one person was up front, handling the phone calls, orders, packing to-go orders, and helping customers at the register. I had finished getting all my tables settled, and went over to help at the counter. I was scolded by the manager for not working in my assigned area. I had already finished my tasks and only needed to check in on my tables a couple of times. Other than that, I had nothing to do. So I told them that the person behind the counter hasn't even been working for 5 months, and shouldn't have to work alone, and that I can help. They glared at me but said nothing. It wasn't like they were going to do anything to help our newest server out. All they did was sit in the back, surfing the web. I and my fellow server managed to clear the delivery orders that piled up, got the customers paid out, and cleaned up as necessary in a timely manner. Everything went smoothly that day, besides me saying that I could help out with other tasks. I guess I offended my manager, because after receiving my tips for the night, they told me to stay back as my friends all left. I was told by the new manager, and I quote, "I don't think we're a good fit here, and today will be your last day," in the rudest tone, and he then turns around to head to the kitchen, and was all smiles and giggles when talking to some of the staff in the back, while talking obnoxiously loud. I'll miss working alongside my servers, and most importantly the customers. I truly enjoyed seeing them and talking with them. 3. This happened years ago, and I still have trouble letting it go. I was in my early 20s. It was a weekend dinner rush. I had an 8-top come in from North Jersey, Benny's, come down to my restaurant at the Jersey Shore. My memory was especially horrible back then, and my attention span was probably non-existent. I was suffering from narcolepsy, and I didn't even know it. I was basically a walking zombie, because back then I could never get restorative sleep. The worst part was I had a speech impediment growing up, so this was a common insult back then that still really stung deep. I still hate the word today. So I was trying to serve my table, but I just kept forgetting things. I couldn't recall the sip of the day. I would forget what drinks they had when I would try to refill it. Nothing horrendous, but lots of small, repetitive things like this. I guess they were tired of it because one guy asks what's wrong with me, and he calls me a word that starts with R that polite people do not say. And they all start laughing. It was like a scene in a bad movie. How was this funny? How could you be so mean? Can't you see I'm struggling? Hell, I didn't even know why I was struggling at the time. I didn't know I had this disorder, I just knew something was wrong. I was so embarrassed. This happened in front of other tables and servers. The table was right in front of a drink station. I told my managers, and they did nothing. Why didn't anyone stand up for me? I had an especially bad self-image from being bullied when I was in school, and boy did this set me back. I was mortified, and you know what? I still continued to serve the table, and I didn't even stand up for myself, I just held it in. I replayed this hundreds of times in my head and how I could have handled it. Back then, I would have loved to have just taken him outside and showed him what was up, but I didn't because I also didn't like altercations. That was about 10 years ago, and I still hold on to it. It's easier now, but man, insults hurt. Now I'm a teacher, and I just started waiting tables on the side again. I love it. I'm a big acts of service guy, so I actually do love serving tables as well as doing a lot of the running side work so my colleagues can be successful. It's crazy, this restaurant I'm talking about. I actually gave the Heimlich 3 times in my 10 years and never even got Employee of the Month. This new place loves me and really values me. Thanks for taking the time out to listen to this. 4. The restaurant I work at has a policy, like many other restaurants do, that if we get a party of 8+ people, we automatically include 20% gratuity into the check. We don't end up pocketing the full 20% as we have to include the sales tax into it, so we're not taxing guests on the tip. So it's usually a guaranteed 18% tip. which is usually around $80 to $100 depending on the party. We inform the guests of this before they're even put on the wait list, so they're free to go elsewhere if they're not comfortable with that. Last Sunday, we were very busy in the morning. We were getting party after party, and I ended up with a 12-top. It was an older guy, his wife, and what I presume were his daughters and their children. The older guy and his wife I had served previously, and they were very kind, and he orders quite a bit of alcohol, running up that tab, so I was excited to serve them. From the moment I greeted them, I knew they were going to be a problem and were going to complain about the 20%. Almost all of them had something wrong with their food, not enough fries, not enough butter on the potato, the sauce tastes weird, etc. They do 3 checks, I give it to them, and one of the daughters immediately starts getting loud about the tip. She asks what the additional charge is, and I explain to her it's the 20% gratuity they were informed about before they were sat. And she goes on a 5-minute tangent about how unacceptable it was that we put that on there without her consent and that we were taxing her for the tip. I thoroughly explain to her how the number was calculated and tell her I can get the manager because he's the one that put it on there. She pulls out her phone and starts doing the calculation and says,
"We'll let you know when we're ready. Matter of fact, why don't you go ahead and grab the manager?"
I bring him over. He says exactly what I told them. And the daughter starts with,
"First of all, the service was crap,"
which was blatantly rude and disgusting. They were my only table for most of the time I served them, and I was constantly running back and forth because they kept asking for more and more. He ends up talking to the other daughter for like 20 minutes, and she tells him that they all used to be servers back in the day. To which I audibly laughed. One of my co-workers then comes up to me and says that one of the daughters approached her, because she usually serves them, and she told the daughter that because it was super busy, she couldn't take any request tables. The daughter says,
"We had a geek-ass nerd serve us."
And her husband, who was holding his young daughter, says, "He was the worst motherfucking server we've ever had." I ended up getting the 20%, but will never be serving these people again. 5. I'll start by saying I take my career in food safety very seriously. Even if I was livid over a customer, I would never do anything gross, dirty, harmful, etc. to their food. And I would shut down someone else trying to. I prefer my revenge to be petty, but noticed. The restaurant I work in is located in an upscale area. As a result, our customer base is full of entitled, elitist, insufferable people most days. If you have a problem with your food, that's fine. But if you're an asshole or being petty, you'll get served by Chef Petty, the king of petty. 1. The crouton debacle. This pair of older women came in, were immediately rude to the hostess and server from what I was told. So the server came to me, gave me a heads up that they seem like a problem. Sure enough, they each start with a Caesar salad and send it right back. Their reason? Some of the croutons were big and some were small. And they'd like the croutons that were all roughly the same size. Heard. I put the new salads in the window. One had equal-sized very large croutons. One had equal-sized very small croutons. Like smaller than a sugar cube. Apparently, they learned not to be petty because they shut up and ate them. 2. In a pickle over pickles. We had a gentleman come in and order one of our burgers. He said, extra, extra, extra pickles. We normally do 3, so each extra was 3 more, 12 total. When it went to his table, he said he wanted more. I gave him 3 more. He sent it back. At this point, it was time to shut this shit down. I took off all the pickles and scooped through the pickle bucket to find 20 to 25 of the smallest slices I could find. All about dime-sized. Loaded his burger up, and it didn't come back. For reference, his original 12-pickle order was more than these 20 to 25 pickles. 3.
Can I get some more onions?
This regular always comes in and orders her burger with an obnoxious amount of onions. Normally we do 2 rings. She always initially asks for about 30. No bullshit. Then proceeds to send the server back 3 or 4 more times for a small plate of about 15 more. It's disgusting. One day we were busier than usual when she tried to pull this. Rather than have to keep stopping to accommodate her, I took the biggest red onion we had, pushed it through the slicer, didn't separate the rings, and put the entire onion on her plate. The server laughed her ass off when the lady left, because she didn't touch any of the onion. Apparently she took great joy in making the server run back and forth, and that was a buzzkill for her. 4.
What am I supposed to do with this?
We had a regular nightly customer place the same order for pickup 15 minutes before close every night for 4 months straight. We hated her, because she treated all the staff she dealt with like shit, made ridiculous demands, then no matter what, would send it all back to be refired even though nothing was ever wrong with the order. One particular thing she'd do was order 6 shrimp pasta dishes, and request 3 additional portions of shrimp for each one. But she didn't want the shrimp on top like it comes, she wanted it on the side. No big deal other than how she wanted it. She didn't want it all together, she didn't even want the 4 total portions for each order together, nope. She wanted each of the 4 portions for each of the 6 orders separately packaged. That takes a long-ass time to do, way more than necessary. All because she gets off on being difficult. So I wasn't having it one night. We knew she was coming, so all total I knew I needed 288 shrimp, which she got, individually packaged in 288 ramekins. She was pissed. She said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" GM said make sure they're all there, so she proceeded to count 288 ramekins as I watched from the kitchen with a grin. After that, she had no problem allowing us to start packaging it the way it was made to be, and even started tipping. They eventually stopped coming. Wins all the way round. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 219. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, I would appreciate it if you poke the like button. If you'd like to get the videos a little bit early, then you can support me through Patreon, where I drop the links at the start of the week, usually about Tuesday. You can do that for as little or as much as you like per month. You can also get yourself some nifty Hellfreezer merchandise, both of which are linked in the description, and you can make one-off donations during streams or videos like this one, if you wish to do so. While it is not required, it is appreciated, and helps pay for sandwiches. Possibly other things. I do like sandwiches. Anyway, let's see. I don't think there's any other business today, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question comes from one of my moderators, Bellamy Fox, although they might still be Darth Ino on YouTube. I'm not sure, I haven't checked. This one is quite controversial, so please brace yourselves. How do you eat your gummy bears? Now you might think you just pop them in your mouth, but no. Some people like to bite the heads off them, some over the feet. One of my other moderators likes to bite the tummy off first. Some people start with the bum. I even know some people who like to put them all in a bag, then put them on top of a radiator till they get kind of soft and gooey. Then they eat the melded, putrid mass of gooiness that once used to be bears, but are now horrid creatures, poor souls languishing in the depths of confection hell. Or something like that. Personally speaking, I just kind of grab them by the fistful and throw them at my face. Whatever gets in my mouth, I eat. Well, actually, what I like to do with them is I like to do this with kind of all my gummies and all my chocolate. I like to put them in the refrigerator so they get kind of firm. And I think they're a lot nicer that way when you take them in the fridge and they're kind of firm. I guess I just like my gummies a little on the firm side to start with. They then get softer as you chew them. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what I do is considered evil in some communities, but that's how I like them. The radiator thing's actually something my mother used to do, not necessarily with gummy bears, but she used to buy something called midget gems. I remember she used to get them from the local store back in the day, back in my day, when they used to have the plastic tubs and they measured them out by weight, and then put them in these kind of little white paper bags. That's how they used to get the candy. You still get stores like that, of course. You get like specialist, candy stores these days, but you can also just buy them prepackaged in bags. Anyway, that comes from my mother. She used to really like doing that. It's not a habit I ever got into. I'm almost kind of the exact opposite of what I like to do with my candy. But let me know what you think. Let me know what your preference is in a comment below. I'll stop yammering on now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.